on who Donald Trump is. Just the fact that I met him in person didn't change that. And the fact that I reported honestly is not a sin either. But, you know, to use the Hitler thing, first of all, I just think it's kind of insulting to 6 million.
Piers Morgan went on Bill Maher's podcast, the Club Random podcast, and things got pretty crazy. Things got pretty heated whenever Piers Morgan brought up the conversation that Bill Maher had with Donald Trump at the White House, or the dinner or lunch or whatever the hell it was they had. That got the woke left melted down over. Let's get into this clip here where Bill Maher goes off whenever Piers Morgan asks Bill Maher about the situation between Bill Maher and Donald Trump. Let's check it out.
Well, let's talk Larry David, because you're friends, aren't you? Were you friends? Are you friends?
Yes, of course. I mean, this wasn't, you know, my favorite moment of our friendship, but, you know, look, I don't want to get in too much into that, but I think the minute you play the Hitler card,
That's what I think.
You've lost the argument.
Yes.
And also, I must say, you know, come on, man. Hitler, Nazis, nobody has been harder about and more prescient, I must say, about Donald Trump than me. I don't need to be lectured on who Donald Trump is. Just the fact that I met him in person didn't change that. And the fact that I reported honestly is not a sin either. But, you know, to use the Hitler thing, first of all, I just think it's kind of insulting to 6 million dead Jews, you know, like that should kind of be in its own place in history. And, you know, I know people can say, well, we're just comparing it in this way. Well, it's an argument you kind of lost just to start it. It's just, look, maybe it's not completely logically fair, but Hitler has really kind of got to stay in his own place. He is the goat of evil. And we're just going to have to, I think, leave it like that. So
that's crazy coming out of Bill Maher's mouth, because he used to talk so much about Donald Trump. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Bill Maher has called Donald Trump, maybe not Hitler, but definitely a dictator similar to Hitler. You know, he definitely has said things like that in the past, alluding to that. And it's pretty crazy that he's made this complete 180 where now Bill Maher's, you know, calling out the woke left for using those accusations in those terms to describe Donald Trump and describe Republicans as a whole. And like I've said a million times here, and like I'm saying now, it's just an offended and oppression Olympics. Who can be more offended? Who can come up with a better term that's more sensationalized to describe the opposition? That's all it is. And it kind of just caps out at Hitler. I mean, I feel like even calling someone, or maybe this sounds crazy or ridiculous, but calling somebody Hitler almost has a better effect than calling someone the devil. You know, it sounds even worse when you call someone Hitler, because the devil is a spiritual being, Hitler, a physical person, an actual human being that carried out atrocities. So that's kind of like the cap. And there's not really much worse you can call someone, but now calling someone that has completely lost its meaning because of how much the left have just spammed it. They have to use a different attack move. They keep using the same move. It's not working. They've got no combo game. It loses its surprise factor.
You know, did I think that was appropriate? No, but people have the right to.
Did you know he was going to do it?
Of course not. And people.
So how did you find out?
You know, my publicist said, this is going on today and you should know it. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, I mean.
Have you had any contact with him since?
No. And that's okay. Look, my whole reason to go to the White House, you know, I said it right at the beginning of the speech I made about it, was, you know, talking to Kid Rock right here, and we were just like, there's got to be a better way than just hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. I mean, maybe, you know, nothing will come of this, but what I know nothing will come from is pretending to ignore the person who has all the power. Democrats have no power. So to think that your method of running out of the room screaming, I'm not talking to you, maybe my thing has a 1% chance of succeeding. Yours definitely has zero.
Not zero. And the final thing I'd say about the Larry David thing is I read it. I was just like you, the moment I saw Hitler, okay, I get it. It's that very tired old trope. In fact, on your show once with Jim Jeffries, he told me to fuck off on your show when I said Trump is not Hitler. He hasn't been responsible for the death of 12 million people, including 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. And ever since then, I've just thought every time I see it, this is a ridiculous analogy. But the thing about the point people made on social media about Larry David was that he's been conspicuous by his silence since October the 7th, for example, not said a word. You've been conspicuous by the support you've given Jewish people on your show.
And the state of Israel.
Yeah.
And also tearing a new asshole to the, what do they call them? I used to call them that. Useful idiots who take up the cause of some of the most illiberal people in the world. And I'm talking about Hamas, where they are now, finally we see these protests from the from the people in Gaza against Hamas, because of course when the useful idiots talk about oppressors, who's really the oppressor of the people of Hamas? It's Hamas. That's who puts their own people purposely in harm's way. That's their whole strategy, is like, well, we can't win this war militarily. The way we can win this war is get enough of our own people killed on purpose so that world opinion, the useful idiots, will fall for that and blame Israel.
That is the whole strategy.
I don't know if I fully agree with that, and unfortunately can't even get into this topic on YouTube, because if you say the wrong opinion, this is one of the very few things where it's like you literally can't have the incorrect opinion, or else you just get completely nuked. And I don't know if I have the fully correct opinion. I'm not fully in opposition to everything that Bill Maher just said. I do agree Hamas are bad people, and I think that anyone who supports Hamas are bad people and are evil people, like Hassan Piker. Bad people. But I also don't think that the other side, the other country, Ben Shapiro's favorite country, is totally in the clear in the situation. I think we all know that, and they're doing pretty bad things. And it's fortunate that in America, you just can't really talk about the subject or talk about it. But let's get into this other part of this clip here between Bill Maher and Piers Morgan that is also very interesting.
Any reason why that would be a problem anyway?
Here's the thing, I kept my honor.
Yes.
I did not go there and put on a hat and become MAGA and, again, said things to him I'm not sure that people around him ever say to him. Maybe they do, I don't know. But for a country, and I'm certainly one of these people who've been complaining that he's surrounded by ass-kissers, I think it was kind of good to infiltrate someone from the other side in there, just to say these things, just to see if, I'm sorry it didn't come out the way you wanted, that he went apeshit about it, but that's just who he is in private. It's just different. And
but I thought you were intellectually honest, because
totally
you actually just said what happened
it did.
And how you genuinely felt about him. I've known him 20 years. I've had meals with him and stuff. Yeah,
20 years.
Yeah, I did the Celebrity Apprentice, and
well, I
won that first season of it. So after that, I then became one of his boardroom advisors on subsequent seasons and stuff. Then I went to CNN and interviewed him maybe 30, 40 times in that period, and so I got to know him very, very well. And I still talk to him quite regularly, and I have no problem, notwithstanding all that, in whacking him when I think he's wrong.
Right.
And I think he actually respects
he does.
people to do that.
Yes, that's the impression I got.
What he doesn't like is people who he thinks whack him because they feel they ought to. He doesn't mind if he thinks you genuinely believe he's wrong about something.
Yeah, and it doesn't change.
Right.
It's just, again, just don't conflate me being honest about what it was like to see him in private and criticize him privately and his reaction. Don't conflate that with me condoning anything he does or has ever done, because that wasn't part of the equation for me, and it never will be. And
I don't think we'll ever turn Bill Maher into a hardcore MAGA supporter or anything like that, but I do think the fact that he's calling out the woke left for their nonsense here and their rhetoric towards Donald Trump is a huge W for our side here, a huge W for Donald Trump overall, huge W for the Trump family in general. Donald Trump releasing those MAGA 2028 hats, and of course the left wing are melting down over that. But it never said it was Trump 2028. It's who knows which Trump is going to run, who's going to be in that seat. But it's huge to have someone like Bill Maher, but not just him. A bunch of other people are turning towards the side about the rhetoric towards Donald Trump has gotten out of hand, and you guys are just acting like lunatics out there. And when the left are calling out the woke left for becoming lunatics, such as Bill Maher right here, it's massive W's for us. Let me know in the comments what you think about Bill Maher's appearance here, or I guess Piers Morgan's appearance here on Bill Maher's podcast, the Club Random podcast. What'd you think about what Bill Maher had to say about the woke left in response to Larry David, and response to everybody who's calling him out? Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Bill Maher and Piers Morgan situation.